Week 3 of the fantasy baseball season. Here's a few hitters I look to sell and trade this week. The first hitter, Keibert Ruiz of the Washington Nationals. Off to a great start, a former top prospect in the Dodgers system, and a big trade piece. Obviously in the trade turn, a Max Scherzer deal many years ago. On the year for Ruiz, 2 home runs, 11 RBIs, 9 runs scored, at 373 average, and a 439 on base. Definitely living up to being a former top prospect is Ruiz, and definitely it's shown to begin this season with the Nationals batting third in the order, moving up from the last couple of years. April 11th in Miami, 1 for 3, 2 runs. April 12th at the Marlins, 3 for 4, 2 runs and RBI. April 13th at the Marlins, 2 for 5. And April 14th at the Pirates, 1 for 4 with an RBI. So he's playing great baseball. He's Keibert Ruiz, but I just don't believe he's going to keep it up at this pace. And obviously hitting over 350 as well, which is not sustainable. So right now, while he's playing good baseball, even though this national team, they haven't played that great this season in early going, and they're just going to be another team finishing fourth in the National League East once again is this Washington national team. And Ruiz, like I said, he definitely could take the next step this season, but like I said, I believe he's not going to hit over 350, and he's someone who was on the waiver wire coming into the season in most leagues. And anytime you could pick up a player off the waiver wire and flip him in a deal for someone who's struggling or someone who's been decent this year, but you want a deal and catches a weak position as well in fantasy baseball. So I think Ruiz right now at peak value, being a catcher, hitting over 350, being a main staple in the offense for the Nationals. You could trade him off and get either a good starting pitching in a deal or another position player if you need. The next player, Cedric Mullins of the Baltimore Orioles. Cedric Mullins, he's been on the list a couple times in the early going this season, and he's playing great baseball in the year. 3 home runs, 16 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 9 runs scored, a 277 average, and a 414 on base percentage. So he's doing a lot of good things in the early going, is Cedric Mullins. But one thing is, you're not going to get a lot of power. 18 home run range, I believe. Stolen bases, yeah, he's got the upside to steal 30 bags, but batting average and on base percentage towards the end of the year just isn't going to be there for Cedric Mullins, and even the RBI. So right now, well, he's playing way over his head and above his numbers in a big way on projections. To Cedric Mullins, he's a sell-high player this week with already the batting average over the last week going down drastically. April 8th at Arizona, 2 for 4, run 2 RBIs. April 9th at the Diamondbacks, 0 for 3. April 12th versus the Blue Jays, 1 for 2, a run, 2 RBIs. And April 13th versus the Blue Jays, 0 for 3. So like I said, Cedric Mullins, he got off to the hot start. He had 10 RBIs in the first week of the season, and now he's fizzling out a little bit. Is Cedric Mullins. The batting average is dropping a bit, and you could trade him off and get something good in the deal for Mullins. But if this continues at this rate like he has in the last week, the numbers are going to continue falling, and obviously his value is going to drop as well. So right now, well, he's still playing good, and the stats could trick other owners where they think, he's been steady, even though one big week he's had his Cedric Mullins. This is a time to sell him this week. The next hitter, Kyren Paris of the Los Angeles Angels. Paris, he's off to a monster start to begin the season, and I know he's not playing every day early the first week of the season for this Angel team, but now he's been in the lineup and he's producing, and he's a speedster, no doubt about it. On the year, 5 home runs, 8 RBIs, 13 runs scored, 5 stolen bases, a 368 average, and a 467 on base. At Paris, he was drafted pretty much in every fantasy league this offseason, and now he's come up and he's playing good baseball, starting with the big club this season. The last few games, April 10th at Tampa, 0 for 3 with a run. April 11th at Houston, 2 for 3 a run. April 12th at the Astros, 1 for 4 with a stolen base. And April 13th at the Astros, 0 for 3. So Paris, I think the power numbers are a little fluky. He did have a 2 home run game April 9th at the Rays. So 5 homers in the early going, that's a big number, obviously, for Kyren Paris. But like I said, I don't think Power's going to be there. We saw he had a cup of coffee in the major leagues last season when he struggled in 51 at-bats, hitting 118. But the one thing I think will be there for Paris when it's all said and done is the stolen base category this season, where I believe he could be a 30, 40 stolen base type of player. But batting average isn't going to be there. On base isn't going to be there. And he's just off to a hot start. But once the league adjusts and he has to make adjustments, that's where it gets tougher for a younger player to make adjustments to pitches that obviously made adjustments. And also that breaking ball is always a tough thing for young players to hit. So right now, while Kyren Paris is playing great baseball, and like I said, a big waiver wire pickup, he was early in the season. And anytime you could pick up someone off the waiver wire and flip him in a deal and get great value for him. This is the type of opportunity I would take it from a fantasy owner. So like I said, I don't think Paris is going to be a bad player, but I think the average is going to drop off mightily. I don't think the power numbers are going to be all that great for him, but stolen bases and runs scored could be a big number for Paris. But right now, well, he's red hot and one of the best hitters, believe it or not, in fantasy baseball in the first few weeks of the year. He's a sell-high hitter this week. The next hitter, Pete Alonso of the New York Mets. So Pete Alonso, he's coming out the gate and with a vengeance. After in the offseason, there wasn't much interest in him around the league, even though the Mets did give him a nice AAV, $30 million a year on a 2-year contract with an opt-out after the first season. So in the year for Alonso, 4 home runs, 19 RBIs already, 10 runs scored, a 345 batting average, and a 444 on base percentage. So Alonso, he's off to a great start. And obviously with the big offseason signing of Juan Soto to give Alonso a lot of good pitches to hit batting behind Juan Soto and just making the game easier for Alonso. So we know the power is going to be there. He's a 35-45 home run range type of hitter is Pete Alonso. RBI in anywhere from 85 to 100 RBIs, I believe, is Alonso. But the batting average, he's way above right now. Even the RBIs, he's off to a great start as well. And the on-base percentage, throughout his career, he's usually in that 330, 340 range at most is Pete Alonso, and a batting average anywhere from the 230s to the 260 range. So like I said, he's playing great baseball. The Juan Soto effect's definitely been a big factor in why Alonso's going out there and putting up numbers. But like I said, well, he's one of the best hitters in the league. I would try to get a nice package deal, a hitter and a pitcher in a deal if I'm trying to trade Alonso now. Because like I said, power and RBIs will be there at the end of the year. But it's the other stuff. The batting average, strikeout rate is low, on-base percentage is way high, and the run scored for Pete Alonso. April 11th, the Athletics 3 for 3, a homer, 3 RBIs. April 12th at the Athletics 0 for 4. April 13th at the Athletics 0 for 4 with a run. And April 14th at the Twins 2 for 2 with a run and an RBI. So like I said, Pete Alonso, he's playing great baseball. Juan Soto batting ahead of him. He's giving him a lot of good pitches to hit. And pitchers have to put that ball and can't just walk Soto and then walk Alonso as well. And like I said, it's paying big dividends for him. But right now, I believe Alonso, he's playing just a bit over his head, especially on the average base percentage and even his eye at the plate. He's not chasing that breaking ball as much in the early going. But I believe Alonso, the numbers just aren't going to stick at the pace they are. But I'm trying to get a haul in a deal for him. And if you're not, then I wouldn't trade him. And the fifth and final player I'd look to sell in trades, Jung-Ho Lee of the San Francisco Giants. So this Giant team, first few weeks of the season, they were off to a monster start, and Jung-Ho Lee has been a big part of it. And he's been obviously a big waiver wire pickup in the early going, where early in the season he was only 5-10% owned and already 80% owned now in week 3 here. On the year, 3 home runs, 11 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 16 runs scored already, a 328 batting average, and a 398 on-base percentage. So Jung-Ho Lee's going out there. He's playing great baseball, batting third in the San Francisco Giant offense. And this Giant team, they're going out there, and they're beating some good teams already in the early going this season, including winning 2 out of 3 from the New York Yankees over the weekend and beating Philly in last night's game. April 9th versus the Reds, 3 for 5, a run and RBI. April 11th at the Yankees, 1 for 2, a homer, 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored. April 12th at the Yankees, 1 for 4 with a run. April 13th, the monster game at the Yankees, 2 for 3, 2 homers, 4 RBIs. And April 14th at the Phillies, 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. So Jung-Ho Lee, no doubt about it, he's off to a monster start, and he put on a big performance at the New York Yankees over the weekend, where he had 3 home runs and 7 RBIs in that series. So Lee, he's playing good baseball. This Giant team playing great baseball. But like I said, we don't know the track record really of Lee in the major leagues. Last season, it was his first year in the majors, and he got hurt pretty early in the season. Only 145 at-bats with 2 homers and 8 RBIs. But already in 59 at-bats, he's already got the 3 homers and 11 RBIs, is Jung-Ho Lee. So he's off to a great start. But like I said, last season was an injury. I know he was good, obviously, in the KBO, but we got to see what he does in the major league. So right now, well, he's coming out the gate hot. He's a sell-high hitter this week with not really a track record. So that's a few hitters I look to sell and trade for week 3 of the fantasy baseball season.